Namaskar students, welcome to Headlines of the Day. In this video, we are going to discuss important headlines of the Hindu newspaper dated 10th August 2022 of Delhi edition. Right? तो आज का डिस्कशन स्टार्ट करते हैं. हमारी पहली हेडलाइन है SC Lord steps to fulfill climate commitments. It is available on page number 2 related to paper 3 environment section. In this article, we have to know about the India's updated nationally determined contributions and their objectives. So recently, Delhi High Court has appreciated steps taken by government to implement the climate change commitments. कौन सी commitment? As per the updated nationally determined contributions, India now stands committed to reduce emission intensity of its GDP by 45% by 2030 from 2005 level, right? And achieve about 50% cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil fuels based energy resources by 2030. अगर हम nationally determined contributions की बात करें तो the NDC encompasses national plans and pledges made by the country to meet the goal of maintaining global temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level, while aiming for 1.5 degrees Celsius to avoid the worst impact of climate change. Our next important headline is Fair Trial goes beyond courts to the police and media. It is available on page number 6 related to paper 3 internal security, right? So in this article, we have to know about the current social media regulations, why social media needs to be made accountable, existing issues and ways to tackle them. So recently, Chief Justice of India objected to the lack of media accountability in the media's coverage of legal issues. कौन से issues observe किए गए हैं recently? Sometimes the media violates the presumption of innocence and right to dignity and the privacy of suspects, the accused, victims, witnesses and persons closely related to them. They often face social ostracization and difficulties in retaining employment and making them vulnerable to crime and exploitation. अगर हम existing regulations की बात करें तो current media regulation is limited and government regulation is not uniform for print and television media, and also enforcement of these regulation is slow. Government regulation of media is problematic and likely to increase politicization of press, right? Hence, this weak regulatory environment effectively leaves reporting norms to the conscience of the reporters and their editors. तो future prospects की बात करें और ways to handle की बात करें तो how it can be handled. With the increasing call for media regulation, it is now in the immediate interest of the media and general interest of the free press that media institutions look inward to find an answer to what is essentially an ethical crisis. Media's immense power to shape narratives regarding public conception of the justice makes it close associate of justice system, bringing with it a responsibility to uphold the basic principle of our justice system. Therefore, media should feel subject to obligation to do its part in aiding mechanism that aim to preserve these principles. On the other hand, a structured, well-designed media policy with training and enforcement mechanism is need of the hour for police, right? Our next important headline is Navigating Sri Lanka's Rocky Road to Recovery. It is available on page number 7 related to paper 2 International Relations. In this article, we have to know about the latest development related to Sri Lankan economic crisis, causes and impact of the crisis and way ahead, right? तो latest development में क्या हुआ है? Discussions with International Monetary Fund on bailout of extended fund facility program have progressed and staff level agreement is being finalized. IMF executive board will improve a program and release a bailout fund only once it has adequate financing assurances, right? If you want to know more about Sri Lankan crisis, link is available in the description, right? Next important headline is Ranking that makes no sense. It is available on page number 7 related to paper 2 Polity and Governance section. In this article, we have to know what are the findings of National Institutional Ranking Framework 2022, criticism of the ranking framework and suggestions and way forward. तो recently क्या हुआ है कि National Institutional Ranking Framework of Higher Education Institutions has received considerable criticism. It was released in July and broad parameters on which higher education institutions is ranked by NIRF are कौन से हैं वो? Teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practice, graduation outcome, outreach and inclusivity and perception, right? Each of them is assigned a specific weightage, right? अगर हम flaws की बात करें, what flaws is being noticed in the NIRF methodology? कौन से हैं वो? An analysis of the data submitted by some multidiscipline private universities provides evidence of data fudging. There seems to be lack of rigorous system of verification by NIRF of the data submitted by higher education institutions. There are similar instances of data fudging for parameters like financial resources utilization by multidiscipline institutions, right? ऑल्सो ट्रांसपेरेंसी से रिलेटेड इश्यूज भी यहाँ पे नोटिस किए गए हैं. द NIRF requires the data submitted to it be published by all participating higher education institutions on their website so that such data can be scrutinized. But some private multidiscipline universities have not granted free access to such data on their website. इसके बारे में इशू एक हाईलाइट किया गया है कि it has adopted one size fits for all approach as NIRF applies almost same parameters to all institutions across varied discipline in research and professional practice, right? तो suggestions या ways ahead की बात करें तो severe methodological and structural issues in the NIRF undermine the ranking process and methodology must be revised in consultation with all stakeholders, right? Our next important headline is how the maiden flight of ISRO's SSLV went awry. It is available on page number 8 related to paper 3 science and technology part. In this article we have to know what went wrong with the ISRO's launch of SSLV, what was the purpose of the mission, why did ISRO prefer as SSLV over PSLV or GSLV. तो रिसेंटली क्या हुआ है कि SSLV यानी कि स्मॉल सैटेलाइट लॉन्च व्हीकल मिशन फेल टू प्लेस द सैटेलाइट्स इन देयर रिक्वायर्ड ऑर्बिट्स. इट वाज कैरिंग टू सैटेलाइट्स. कौन सी दो सैटेलाइट्स? अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट 2 एंड आजादी सेट. द मिशन एम टू प्लेस अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट 2 इन अ सर्कुलर लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट एट अ हाइट ऑफ अबाउट 350 किलोमीटर above the equator and inclined at an angle of 37 degree, right? अब क्वेश्चन उठता है कि why do we need to develop SSLV when we have successfully used PSLV and GSLV? तो as we know कि PSLV means polar satellite launch vehicle and GSLV means geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle. They are quite powerful and carry huge loads. To place an Earth orbiting satellite in low Earth orbit, one does not need such power horses. Therefore, in this context, SSLV can easily carry small to medium loads from 10 kg to 500 kg. It is also less expensive. The 3 stages being powered by solid fuel is another advantage. Solid fuel is easier to handle, whereas handling the liquid propellants used in PSLV and GSLV is more complex, right? Our next important headline is on guardianship and adoption of minors. It is available on page number 8 related to paper 2 Polity and Governance section. In this article, we have to know what are the multiple laws on adoption and custody of minors. What has panel recommended with respect to LGBTQI community, right? So recently parliamentary panel has recommended conferring equal rights on mothers as guardians under Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956 instead of treating them as subordinates to their husband, and has called for joint custody of children during marital disputes, right? It has also proposed allowing LGBTQI community to adopt children, right? अब हम बात करें कि what does the law say on guardianship in India, right? तो अगर हम बात करें तो Indian laws accord superiority to father in case of guardianship of minor as under the religious law of Hindus, also known as Hindu Minority Guardianship Act. Natural guardianship of Hindu minor in respect of minors' persons and or property is the father. After him, the mother, provided the custody of minor who has not completed the age of 5 years, share ordinary with the mother, right? As per Muslim Personal Law Application Act 1937, the Shariat or religious laws will apply in case of guardianship, according to which the father is natural guardian, but the custody vests with the mother until the son reaches the age of 7 and the daughter reaches puberty, though the father right to general supervision and control exists, right? Our next important headline is can women be true representative of the people? It is available on page number 9 related to paper 1 women related issues, right? In this article we have to know about the women position in Indian electoral politics, how women legislature are breaking stereotypes and asserting their presence in the Indian parliament. So this article deals with the women position in Indian electoral politics. We have noticed that in 2019 general election was historic moment for women's politics as it saw 78 women elected to the lower house of the parliament for the first time since independence, where only 22 women were present in the 543 member Lok Sabha, but the author explains that this number is still not representative of the actual proportion of women in the country. Author explains how proportional representation will lead to better representation of women's interest. Moreover, the representation becomes phenomenon that cannot be isolated from the society, social, cultural, economic, religious, and political fact the process. The increased political participation is a positive sign towards gender inclusivity and equality in the political spheres, but it has a long way to go considering the socio-economic and cultural conditions that still socialize women into being averse to politics, hindering them from pursuing politics as a career, right? Our next and last important headline is Bangladesh river water deal likely. It is available on page number 10 related to paper 2 international relations. In this article, we have to know about the agenda of upcoming India and Bangladesh talks and their objectives. Why is it in the news? Kyuki India Bangladesh are likely to ink at least one major river agreement later this month. Both sides are expected to take up the Ganga Water Treaty of 1996 that is scheduled to be renewed in 2026. There is strong possibility that agreement on Kushiara river that flows from Assam to Bangladesh is a part of one such agreement. Upcoming meeting between both the countries can take the negotiation beyond the Tista and to other big rivers. So that's all we have in today's discussion. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.